Bgmc. The biblical truth lives here.
The ancient Hebrew scriptures foretold of the Anointed One, Yeshua HaMashiach. The Messiah Yeshua came to call the people back to the truth of His word and to follow that righteous path. Yeshua then called Jewish men to be His disciples, and after His death and resurrection, those Jewish men told the world about the Jewish Messiah. Now, after 2,000 years, Beth Goyim Messianic congregation has that same calling of those Jewish men, telling all people, both Jew and Gentile, about the proper ancient path, teaching the Route 66 King's Highway from Genesis through to Revelation, and how you need and can get back to the proper roots of the faith and a closer walk with God. Now, let's hear the message.
Let's go get a blessing. Turn to Galatians chapter 2, verse 6.
Vamos en búsqueda de una bendición y abramos nuestras Biblias en Gálatas capítulo 2 versículo 6.
This is Messianic, the City Gate Messianic Bible Study, Galatians part number 5.
Este es el estudio bíblico de los portones de la ciudad. Gálatas, el estudio bíblico parte número 5.
Okay. We're just going to do this one verse because I think this will help us understand a lot of things.
Solo vamos a hacer este versículo porque creo que esto nos va a dar a entender muchas cosas.
Okay, Galatians chapter 2, verse 6.
Gálatas capítulo 2 versículo 6.
Okay. Moreover, those who were acknowledged leaders, what they were makes no difference to me. God does not judge by outward appearance. These leaders added nothing to me. I was having a discussion with my wife last night.
Yo estaba teniendo una pequeña discusión con mi esposa anoche.
And I was talking to somebody else about our Galatians study.
Y yo le estuve hablando a alguien sobre el estudio de Gálatas.
You have to really understand Jewish people to understand Galatians.
En realidad tú debes de entender a un judío para poder entender el libro de Gálatas.
Religious Jewish people are generally very snotty.
Los judíos son por lo normal muy religiosos.
They look down their noses at people. They look down on people.
Son altaneros.
Okay. We were talking at dinner last night, my wife and myself.
Estábamos hablando con mi esposa anoche en la cena.
And ever since the Lord birthed this congregation,
Y desde el momento que el Señor dio a luz a esta congregación,
my colleagues in the rabbinicship don't like me.
los colegas, mis colegas que son rabínicos, ellos no agradan de mí.
And it's not only because
Yo
of my...
les agrado. No les agrado.
It isn't only just because of my understanding of Scripture.
No es solo porque es por mi entendimiento sobre las escrituras.
It's really because I don't drive a nice enough car.
Es porque yo no manejo un carro que sea muy bonito.
And we don't have a beautiful building of our own.
Y no tenemos un edificio hermoso que es nuestra propiedad.
The reason I say that
Y la razón por la que digo esto
is because there's an attitude with people that have been trained as rabbis.
es porque hay una actitud con las personas que fueron entrenadas como rabinos.
Now we're looking at Galatians chapter 2 verse 6.
Ahora vamos a leer capítulo 2 de Gálatas, versículo 6.
Moreover, those who were acknowledged leaders, what they were makes no difference to me. God does not judge by outward appearance, but these leaders added nothing to me. Now, I want you to put yourself in my position.
Ahora, yo quisiera que ustedes se pusieran en mi posición.
Okay, can everybody hear the Spanish out there well enough?
¿Pueden todos ustedes escuchar al traductor que está hablando en español?
Because it's a little soft in here. I didn't want it too loud. Okay, if you can't hear it, just unmute, just let me know, okay? Um, so, because we don't have this beautiful building,
Por la razón de la cual que no tenemos este edificio hermoso,
and for many years, Beth Goyim didn't even really have its own space like we have here.
y por muchos años Bet Goyim no tuvo su propio espacio como lo tenemos ahora.
I would go to the conference,
Yo iría a las conferencias
and people would say, "Oh, you don't have your own building."
me decían, oh, tú no tienes tu propio edificio,
You're driving a minivan.
o estás tú manejando una minivan.
Well, I had 2 young boys. Okay. You're driving a minivan.
Tú estás manejando una minivan.
You don't have a BMW or a Mercedes.
No tienes un BMW o un Mercedes.
Did you get those shoes at Caldor?
¿Será que conseguiste? I probably was not even born by that time, but okay. ¿Conseguiste esos zapatos en Caldor?
Okay, or 2 guys.
O
Okay, so there's an attitude.
sí, hay una actitud con ellos.
Or even the school I went to.
O a la escuela, al colegio donde yo fui.
The reason I want you to understand this
La razón por la cual yo quiero que ustedes entiendan esto
is because you don't understand what Rav Shaul is saying in verse 6.
es porque ustedes no entienden lo que Rab Shaul está diciendo en el versículo 6.
He's actually talking down to Kepha, Peter.
Él está hablando, disminuyendo a Kefa, a Pedro.
It says, these leaders added nothing to me.
Dice, oh, estos líderes no añadieron nada a mí.
There's, even in Judaism today,
Aún en el judaísmo hoy en día,
you don't say your Amidah is right.
tú no dices que tu amnidad está bien.
You don't say your prayer. You mean you don't say your after dinner prayer properly?
Dicen, oh, tú no dices, ¿por qué es que tú no dices tu oración después de la cena correcto?
You don't light your candles for Shabbos 18 minutes before sundown?
No enciende tú tus velas para Shabbos 18 minutos antes de la puesta del sol.
So they'll look down on you because I don't teach tradition.
Ellos te van a mirar de cierta manera porque es que yo no enseño tradición.
The reason we need to understand that because we're now going to go to Galatians chapter 3.
La razón por la cual debemos de entender esto es porque vamos a pasar al capítulo 3 de
You
Gálatas.
need to understand the arrogance of Rav Shaul
Tú tienes que entender la arrogancia de Pablo,
because Shaul was taught tradition.
porque a Pablo se le enseñó de un modo tradicional.
He did the best tradition by his standards.
Él hizo lo mejor que él pudo de acuerdo a la tradición.
And Kepha was a fisherman. He was not a trained rabbi by their standards.
Y Pedro era un pescador y él no fue entrenado de acuerdo a las normas de ellos.
So when you have that understanding of verse 6,
Entonces cuando tú adquieres el entendimiento del versículo 6,
then you can understand better why he's writing this letter.
entonces tú puedes entender mejor el por qué él está escribiendo esta carta.
Because he's going to say, "You're not following me, the great Paul?"
Porque entonces él diría, oh, no me estás siguiendo a mí, al gran Pablo.
Because actually when we get into chapter 3 and chapter 4,
Porque cuando entremos al capítulo 3 y el capítulo 4,
you will see a lot of times he's referencing himself
tú te vas a dar cuenta de que él se está refiriendo a sí mismo muchas veces.
and that I birthed you.
Y de que yo te di a luz a ti.
Yes, it is Yeshua who births a congregation.
Es Yeshua quien permite que una congregación nazca.
So once you can fully understand, these leaders added nothing to me.
Cuando tú puedas entender la parte donde dice que estos líderes no añadieron nada a mí,
I am trained by Gamaliel.
Yo fui entrenado por Gamaliel.
What school of training did you go to, Kepha?
¿A qué escuela fuiste tú, Pedro?
He walked with the Son of God.
Él caminó con el Hijo de Jehová.
That's the best school that anybody could ever go
Esa
to.
es la mejor escuela que cualquiera puede haber ido.
So once you understand this Jewish phrase,
Una vez que tú entiendas esta frase judía,
that he is disrespecting Kepha and the other leaders
que él está faltando el respeto a Pedro y a los demás líderes,
because they don't know the earthly way of doing things.
porque ellos no conocen la manera del mundo cómo hacer las cosas.
They don't know the traditions of the people.
Ellos no conocen las tradiciones de las personas.
Then when you really begin to read Galatians chapter 3
Y
and
lu-
chapter 4,
Y luego cuando lees el capítulo 3 y el capítulo 4 de Gálatas,
you will then understand greater what is going on.
entonces tú vas a tener un mejor entendimiento de lo que está sucediendo.
Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
Todos pueden entender lo que yo les estoy diciendo.
Elizabeth, give her the microphone.
Okay, Rabbi, you're saying that according to verse 6, Paul was being disrespectful to the people that were there in that meeting with him. But if you read verse 8 and 9, they actually he's saying that they know the grace that God has put on him, and they given the pat on the shoulder to just go do as Yeshua told him. If he would have been disrespectful to this leader, don't you think that something bad would have come out of it?
No,
That's
you're
not
you're
what I see in 8 and 9.
you're reading it wrong.
I'm reading it wrong. It's right there.
He's not talking to Kepha.
He's talking to the people that were there.
Right. What he's saying to the people that are there is these leaders meant nothing to me because I'm above them. He's being arrogant because if you understand, see, this is where a Gentile doesn't understand Judaism.
Aquí es donde un gentil no entiende el judaísmo.
Religious people are all about the surface.
Una persona que es religiosa, para ellos todo lo que se trata es de algo superficial.
They would look at our Torah scroll
Ellos,
and laugh at it.
ellos mirarán el rollo de la Torah que tenemos aquí y ellos se reirán de ella.
Because we don't have a Sefer Torah.
Porque no tenemos una Sefer Torah.
Do you know what the difference between the Sefer Torah and the one we have is?
¿Sabe? ¿Conoce?
What you have over there?
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yours is like the sheep version of it.
Yes.
Theirs costs more money.
Yeah, about $4,500 more than ours.
Well, what I see, if he's disrespecting this whole bunch of people, they would not have treated him with respect that we see they gave him in verse 8 and 9. They show him respect.
No,
Like, they
no,
was-
once again, you're jumping to 8, but you don't understand what you're reading in 6 because you don't understand the arrogance that he's saying. They added nothing to me. I've been with these leaders. They don't understand the law. They understand nice size kippahs and a talit where they wear like a scarf. They understand big buildings. And they laugh at a place like ours that has, they would never do translation.
ellos jamás, yo que he estado con estos líderes, ellos solo lo que pueden ver es un edificio grande, tener una kipa de la mejor kipa o el talit de forma de un scarf, ¿cómo sería en español? Una bufanda, y ellos no se reirán de nosotros y ellos ni siquiera hacen la traducción como nosotros la hacemos.
So in verse 6,
En el versículo 6,
it is a very arrogant, disrespectful way of talking.
en el versículo 6 es una manera arrogante y faltando el respeto, es una manera de faltar respeto no normal,
But it's polite,
pero es bien sutil,
and that is Judaism.
y ese es el judaísmo.
This is what you don't understand with his attitude.
Esto es lo que no puedes entender, no se puede entender de la actitud de ellos.
Kepha was a fisherman. He was a rough sort of person.
Pedro era un pescador, él era una persona brusca.
Paul grew up to be a rabbi.
Pablo creció para ser un rabino.
He was a Roman citizen.
Él era citizen, un ciudadano de Roma.
So what he's doing here, so that you understand the rest,
Lo que vemos aquí, lo que él está haciendo, entonces no nos permite entender el resto.
verse 6 shows you his mindset.
El versículo 6 nos muestra el modo de pensar de él.
Okay? So when you read further down, you must understand who's talking.
Entonces, cuando se sigue leyendo los versículos, deberemos entender hacia quién es que él está hablando.
What I want you to do next year,
Lo que yo quisiera que se haga el próximo año,
if America makes it to next July,
si los Estados Unidos consiguen lograr llegar al próximo año julio,
there is a worldwide conference of the Messianic Jews.
hay una conferencia de los judíos, una conferencia mundial de los judíos mesiánicos.
I'm going to take a group of us up there.
Y yo voy a llevar a un grupo de nosotros a ese lugar.
And I'm going to see how bad you feel when you leave.
Y yo quiero saber qué tan mal se van a sentir los que vayan ese día en el momento que salgan de ese lugar.
Because they're going to treat you, especially a black person,
Y ellos van a tratar especialmente como que si fuera una persona de color,
a person
de
that
piel
has
morena.
darker skin. They're going
por-
to treat horribly.
A las personas que tienen la piel más oscura, de piel más morena, ellos lo tratan horrible.
They're not going to want to associate with you
Ellos no van a querer asociarse contigo
because they're arrogant.
porque ellos son arrogantes.
They don't want to know you for that you're a sister in the Lord Yeshua.
Ellos no quieren saber de que tú eres una hermana y una hermana en Yeshua.
They're all about how things look instead of what is inside the person.
Ellos se trata más de de la apariencia de la persona, cómo se ven, más de lo que hay dentro de esa persona.
And once you see that, you will understand this better.
Y una vez que se pueda ver eso, que tú puedas ver eso, vas a poder entender esto mejor.
And the reason I say this,
Y la razón por la cual yo digo esto,
there is the key line here in verse 6
aquí está la parte clave,
is these leaders added nothing to me.
es que esos líderes no añadieron nada a mí.
Kepha walked with Yeshua. He was chosen by the Son of God.
Que Pedro fue elegido por el Hijo de Jehová.
Paul heard Yeshua's voice, never met him.
Pablo escuchó la voz de Dios, mas nunca él le conoció.
He never met him.
Él nunca le conoció.
He only spent 15 days with his leaders.
Él solo pasó un tiempo de 15 días con sus líderes.
So now he's writing a letter to his baby congregation in Galatia.
Ahora aquí él está escribiéndole una carta a su iglesia recién nacida en Gálatas.
Now there's probably some Dominican things that I probably don't understand about your culture.
Muy probablemente de que haya cosas que yo no pueda entender de tu cultura como dominicana.
There's probably things that the Puerto Ricans don't understand about the Dominican culture.
Tal vez haya cosas que los puertorriqueños no entiendan de los dominicanos.
And we don't understand the Haitians at all.
Y nosotros ni siquiera entendemos a los haitianos.
And the Mexicans are beyond understanding.
Y los mexicanos están lejos de poder entenderlos.
But what I'm making a funny,
Lo que yo estoy tratando de hacer una broma de esto,
but
o gracioso
the
esto,
Bible is a Jewish book.
es que la Biblia es un libro judío.
Shaul is a Jew all the way through.
Pablo es un judío, por donde lo pongan, él es judío.
So when you're reading his first letter,
Entonces, cuando estás leyendo su primera carta,
it is very important to understand that he's still very, very Talmudically Jewish.
es muy importante entender que él él es talmúdicamente judío.
He is very arrogant.
Él es muy arrogante.
And this line shows you how arrogant he is.
Y en este versículo aquí podemos ver qué tan arrogante él es.
But let me see. Hey, Rav Will, do you understand it? Did you ever feel that way at the MJAA conference?
Oh, absolutely. Those people were so prim and proper in their traditions. And I was such a house painter, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, so I'm just trying to let you in on some nuances. Thank you, Rev Will. I'm trying to let you in on some nuances of the writing.
Yo quiero dejarle entender
Some secrets.
algunos secretos sobre estas escrituras.
Because, like I said, I was having a conversation with Rebbetzin, and it was like, because I wanted to start the radio station many years ago.
Estaba hablando, como les dije anteriormente, que estaba hablando con mi esposa y yo también quería haber empezado una radioestación hace años atrás.
And everybody loved the idea,
A muchos les gustó la idea,
and they would do it if I would pay them.
pero ellos lo harían si yo les pagaba.
Jews don't volunteer.
Los judíos no hacen nada voluntario.
But it's a great idea, and we'll make money once we get it started.
Oh, es una buena idea, podemos conseguir dinero una vez que lo hayamos comenzado.
Oh, when you can pay me, I'll help you.
Oh, bueno, cuando tú puedas pagarme, entonces yo te ayudo.
Okay? So anyway, I just wanted to show you that. Now let's go to Galatians chapter 3.
Entonces vamos a Gálatas capítulo 3.
If you're on the slides, we're on slide number 98.
Si estás en las diapositivas, estamos en la diapositiva número 98.
And this shows his arrogance.
Y esto muestra su
We're
arrogancia.
going to read chapter 3 in full, and then we're going to break it down.
Vamos a leer el capítulo 3 y el 4 y esto lo vamos a separar.
Galatians chapter 3, the full chapter.
O Gálatas el capítulo 3. El
You
completo.
stupid Galatians, who has put you under a spell? Before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed as having been put to death as a criminal. I want to know from you just this one thing. Did you receive the Spirit by legalistic observance of Torah commands, or by trusting in what you heard and being faithful to it? Are you stupid? Having begun with the Spirit's power, do you think you can reach the goal under your own power? Have you suffered so much for nothing? If that's the way you think, your suffering certainly will have been for nothing. What about God, who supplies you with the Spirit and works miracles among you? Does he do it because you're legalistic observance of Torah commands, or because you trust in what you heard and are faithful to it? It was the same with Abraham. He trusted in Jehovah and was faithful to him, and it was credited to his account as righteousness. Be assured, then, that it is those who live by trusting and being faithful who are really children of Abraham. Also, Tanakh, foreseeing that God would consider the Gentiles righteous when they live by trusting and being faithful, told the good news to Abraham in advance by saying, in connection with you, all the Goyim will be blessed. So then, those who rely on trusting and being faithful are blessed along with Abraham, who trusted and was faithful. For everyone who depends on legalistic observance of Torah commands lives under a curse, since it is written, "Cursed is anyone who does not keep on doing everything written in the scroll of the Torah." Now it is evident that no one comes to be declared righteous by God through legalism, since a person who is righteous will obtain life by trusting and being faithful. Furthermore, legalism is not based on trusting and being faithful, but on the misuse of the text that says anyone who does these things will attain life through them. Messiah redeemed us from the curse pronounced in the Torah by becoming cursed on our behalf. For the Tanakh says, everyone who hangs from a stake comes under a curse. Yeshua the Messiah did this so that in union with him, the Gentiles might receive the blessing announced to Abraham, so that through trusting and being faithful, we might receive what was promised, namely the Spirit. Brothers, let me make an analogy from everyday life. When someone swears an oath, no one else can set it aside or add to it. Now, the promises were made to Abraham and to his seed. It doesn't say and to seeds, as if to many. On the contrary, it speaks of one. And to your seed, and this one is the Messiah. Here's what I'm saying. The legal part of the Torah, which came into being 430 years later, does not nullify the oath sworn by Jehovah so as to abolish the promise. For if the inheritance comes from legal part of Torah, it no longer comes from a promise. But Jehovah gave it to Abraham through a promise. So then, why is the legal part of the Torah? It was added in order to create transgressions until the coming of the seed about whom the promise had been made. Moreover, it was handed down through angels as a mediator. Now, a mediator implies one more than one, but God is one. Does this mean that the legal part of the Torah stands in opposition to God's promises? Heaven forbid! For it's the legal part of the Torah which God gave had itself the power to give life, and righteousness really would have come by legalistically following such a Torah. But instead, the Tanakh shuts up everything under sin, so that what has been promised might be given on the basis of Yeshua the Messiah, trusting faithfulness. And those who continue to be trustingly faithful. Now, before the time for the trusting faithfulness came, we are imprisoned in subjection to a system which results from perverting the Torah into legalism, kept under guard until the yet to come trusting faithfulness would be revealed. Accordingly, the Torah functioned as a custodian until Messiah came, so that we might be declared righteous on the ground of trusting and being faithful. But now that the time for this trusting faithfulness has come, we're no longer under a custodian. For in union with the Messiah, you are all children of God through this trusting faithfulness. Because many of you were immersed into the Messiah, clothed yourself with the Messiah, in whom there is neither Jew, nor Gentile, nor slave, nor freeman, nor male or female. Wonder how babies come in. For in union, the Messiah, Yeshua, you are all echad, one. Also, if you belong to the Messiah, you are the seed of Abraham and heirs according to the promise. Through chapter 3,
en todo el capítulo 3,
you will see how Torah observant Shaul really is.
van a notar cuán observante de Torah es Shaul.
You will see how much Torah he was teaching.
Van a notar cuánta Torah él estaba enseñando.
Because you cannot understand chapter 3 without understanding the Torah.
Porque no puedes entender el capítulo 3 sin entender la Torah.
Because he touches pretty much every single sentence. You have to have a background in the Torah first.
Para poder entender cada oración en el capítulo tienes que tener una antecedente de conocimiento de Torah.
So let's go to the next slide, slide number 99.
Vamos a la diapositiva 99.
Galatians chapter 3.
Gálatas capítulo 3.
Now we go to slide number 100. I'm going to try to be nice to the people online. We're going to break it down into the section.
Vamos a dividir esto en secciones.
It's very important to break this letter down into sections.
Esta es muy importante el que dividamos esta carta en secciones.
Just like in the triennial parasha that the annual parasha that we're doing this week,
Así como en la parashá anual que estuvimos revisando esta semana.
it speaks of Yaakov's ladder.
Habla de la escalera de Jacob.
Okay? If you miss a step on the ladder, you're going to fall off the ladder.
Si te pasas un peldaño de la escalera, puedes caerte.
Okay? So it's very important to know how to break your chapter down.
Es muy importante el cómo dividir el capítulo.
Okay, section number 1 is verse 1, 2, and 3.
La sección número 1 está compuesta de los versos 1, 2 y 3.
Okay? And it's entitled, You Stupid Galatians.
Y se titula Estúpidos Gálatas.
Okay? Section number 2
Sección número 2
is verse 4 through 7.
son los versículos 4 al 7.
Section number 3 is
Sección
verse
número-
8 and 9.
Sección número 3 son los versículos 8 y 9.
This is the key section
Esta-
to the chapter.
Estos son los versículos 8 y 9 son las claves para este capítulo.
Section number 4 is verse 9 through 12.
La sección número 4 son los versículos 9 al 12.
Section number 5 is verse 13 and 14.
La sección número 5 son los versículos 13 y 14.
Section number 6 is verse 15 and 16.
La sección número 6 son los versículos 15 y 16.
Section number 7 is verse 17 to 19.
La sección número 7 son los versículos 17 al 19.
Section number 8 is verse 20 to 22.
La sección número 8 está compuesta de versos 20 y 22. 20 al 22.
Section number 9 is verse 23 and 24.
La sección número 9 está compuesta de los versos 23 y 24.
And section number 10 is verse 25 to 29.
Y la sección número 10 son los versos 25 al
It's
29.
very important to mark up your Bible
Es muy importante que subrayen su Biblia,
because this chapter, I believe, is one of the most important chapters of the Bible.
porque este capítulo es uno de los más importantes de la Biblia.
The reason I say this
La razón que digo esto
is because many Gentiles will use this chapter to not keep the Sabbath.
es que muchos gentiles van a utilizar este capítulo para justificar el no guardar el sábado.
They will use this chapter to say we're not under the law.
Utilizarán este capítulo para justificar que no estamos bajo la ley.
They don't understand the Bible,
No entienden la Biblia
and they're going to hell.
y por lo tanto van a irse al infierno.
So the reason we're taking so much time with this study
La razón que nos estamos tomando mucho tiempo en este estudio
is that hopefully you'll be able to witness to the Christian who thinks they're saved and they're not.
es que la finalidad es que podamos testificar a esos cristianos que piensan que van al cielo, pero no es así.
Okay? The reason this is,
La razón de esto es
they're going to find that they're not saved when Yeshua says, "Get away from me, you worker of lawlessness."
que se van a enterar o entender que no están a salvo porque Yeshua dijo, aléjense de mí ustedes hacedores de iniquidad.
So let's go to this next slide.
Vamos a la siguiente diapositiva.
We're now going to go to Galatians chapter 3, verses 1, 2, and 3.
Vamos a ir a Gálatas capítulo 3, versículos 1, 2 y 3.
You stupid Galatians, who's put you under a spell? Before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed as having been put to death as a criminal. I want to know from you just this one thing. Did you receive the Spirit by legalistic observance of Torah commands, or by trusting in what you've heard and being faithful to it? Are you that stupid? Having begun with the Spirit's power, do you think you can reach your goal under your own power? Amen?
Amén.
All right, so this verse 1 and verse 3,
Este versículo 1 y al 3,
you can see Shaul talking down to his congregation.
vemos cómo es que Shaul está hablando a su congregación.
Okay? So he's writing to them and calling them stupid.
Él les está escribiendo y diciéndoles, llamándoles estúpidos.
Okay? So let's first understand what the word stupid is.
Entendamos primero cuál es el significado de la palabra estúpidos.
Because stupid is actually a better word than foolish.
Porque estúpido es una mejor palabra que insensatos.
Because the word foolish in some translations
Porque la palabra insensatos en algunas traducciones
makes it sound like he's being nice.
les hace sonar como que si él está siendo sutil en sus palabras.
So when you go to the Greek definition, you understand he's not being nice.
Cuando vayas a ver la definición griega, tú vas a entender que él no está siendo delicado con estas palabras.
But by understanding this, you see he's actually getting frustrated.
Pero cuando entiendas esto vas a ver que él se está frustrando finalmente.
And I understand this fully.
Y yo puedo comprender completamente esto.
And the reason I do, because I was just like Shaul in the beginning of the Beth Going ministry.
Y la razón que puedo decirte esto es porque yo fui como Rab Shaul al principio del ministerio.
Because people can be extraordinarily stupid.
Porque la gente puede ser extraordinariamente estúpidos.
You try to show them the Word of God.
Les tratas de mostrar la palabra de Dios.
They've never done a Passover.
No han celebrado una Pascua.
They've never celebrated Hag Matzah or Sukkot.
No han celebrado Hag Matzah o Sukkot.
And they want to tell you how the Bible is supposed to be read.
Y tú te quieren decir cómo es que la Biblia debe ser leída.
These are the people that are really not going to heaven.
Esta es la gente que no va a entrar al cielo realmente.
But let's look at the word stupid.
Veamos a las palabras estúpido.
Okay? So the word is, in the Greek, is G453.
En el griego esa palabra G453
Okay? It means unintelligible.
significa incomprensible.
Number 2, not understanding.
Número 2, que no entiende.
Unwise.
Imprudente,
Foolish.
tonto, insensato.
So here he's calling them stupid.
Aquí les está llamando estúpidos.
I mean, you're unintelligible.
No eres incomprensible.
You have no understanding.
No tienes entendimiento.
And you're trying to tell me how to run the congregation.
Y me estás tratando de decir a mí cómo llevar la congregación.
Now, once you understand that,
Una vez que entiendas eso,
and let's reread verse 1 again.
leamos el versículo 1 otra vez.
You stupid Galatians, who has put you under a spell? Before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed as having been put to death as a criminal. So you can see he's pretty frustrated.
Puedes tú darte cuenta aquí que él está frustrado.
But once we get to verse 2, you're
Una
going to
vez,
see something very interesting.
una vez que lleguemos al versículo 2 vas a ver algo importante.
Okay, so he starts off with that, you stupid Galatians.
Comienza primero diciendo ustedes estúpidos Gálatas.
He's calling them foolish.
Les está llamando estúpidos.
He's calling them unwise like a little child.
Les está hablando como unos niños pequeños.
Now, why is that important?
Porque es importante.
Because once you get to chapter 4,
Porque una vez que llegues al capítulo 4,
when he says, I birthed you,
cuando dice yo te di a luz,
you have to understand Galatians is all one letter.
tienes que entender que Gálatas es una carta.
It should be read inside of 1 hour
Debería ser leída en el tiempo de una hora
to really get the full understanding.
para poder tener un entendimiento completo.
And then break it down into parts because he's very much Jewish once you get to chapter 4.
Entonces, y después dividirlo porque es un poco difícil de comprender porque él es muy judío cuando llegamos al capítulo 4.
Because you have to know a lot of Torah to understand chapter 4.
Porque tienes que tener mucho conocimiento de Torah cuando llegas al capítulo 4.
So he starts off chapter 3 by being very angry.
Comienza aquí el capítulo 3 con enojo, muy enojado.
Let's go to the next slide.
Vamos a la siguiente diapositiva.
Let's read verse 1 again.
Leamos el versículo 1.
You stupid Galatians, who put you under a spell? Before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed as having been put to death as a criminal. Okay? So now he's talking about that they're underneath a spell, like witchcraft.
Ahora les está diciendo que están hechizados.
Okay, so let's look at the word that he used.
Veamos la palabra que él utilizó.
Now, some translations have the word bewitched,
Algunas traducciones tienen la palabra hechizado.
and that is G940.
Y esa es la palabra G940.
Okay, now definition number 1, to speak ill of one.
La definición 1 es hablar amargamente o enfermamente de uno.
To slander.
El difamar.
Number 2, to bring evil on one by feigning praise. Like, oh, you look so handsome today.
Para traer maldad sobre uno cuando, hold on, let me see feigning. I know what you mean, but feigning.
Feigning. Like faking.
Okay, hold on. Adular. Un simulamiento, fingiendo una adoración.
Okay. Or giving an evil eye.
O dar un mal ojo. Evil eye.
The evil eye.
Evil eye.
Yeah.
Mal ojo.
Like a witch.
Con una maldición. Mal de ojo.
Okay.
Mal de ojo.
So, or number 3, do we got it?
I cannot even do it. Yeah, it's like a curse or a...
Yeah.
Yeah, so maldición o un mal de ojo.
Okay. Or to charm or to bewitch. Number 3, to charm or bewitch.
Para hechizar o charm, conjuro.
All right, we're just looking up some words in Spanish.
Encantar, para encantar, y la otra es para hechizar.
Okay. So the reason we're slowing down here
La razón que nos estamos deteniendo un poco aquí
is because as you go further into the chapter,
es que mientras tú avanzas en el capítulo,
you understand what's going on in the head of the writer.
tú vas a entender qué está en la cabeza del escritor.
He's saying that you knew Messiah,
Él está diciendo, ustedes conocieron al Mesías,
but now somebody has put a spell over you to not know Messiah.
pero ahora alguien te puso un hechizo sobre ti para no conocer al Mesías.
And he's calling them an idiot.
Y les está llamando idiotas.
Which, sometimes, when you get frustrated with people, you're saying, what are you, an idiot?
A veces cuando estás frustrado, tú puedes decir, ¿eres un idiota o qué?
Because a lot of people don't want to listen to their teachers.
Porque mucha gente no quiere escuchar a sus maestros.
Okay? Now, going on to the next slide, we're still in verse number 1.
Seguimos en el versículo 1, vamos a la siguiente diapositiva.
You stupid Galatians, who has put you under a spell? Before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed as having been put to death as a criminal. Okay? Now, here we're now going to look at the third part of the sentence.
Ahora vamos a ver a la tercera parte de la oración.
Actually, the fourth part
La cuarta parte,
is to be put to death as a criminal.
que dice ser puesto a muerte como criminal.
This is very important.
Esto es algo muy importante.
What do you think is important about this part of sentence 1?
¿Por qué crees que esta parte es muy importante en la oración 1, en el versículo 1?
What do you think? Why do you think this understanding is very important to the understanding of the rest of the chapter?
¿Por qué la comprensión de esta oración es muy importante para poder comprender el resto del capítulo?
What is so important about that saying?
¿Qué es tan importante acerca de esto que él dijo?
Because once you understand this,
Porque una vez que entiendes esto,
you will understand that he is not saying get rid of the Torah.
porque una vez que entiendes esto, Él no está diciendo que debes deshacerte de la Torah.
Because once you understand this,
Porque una vez que entiendes esto,
you will understand that they are studying the
en-
Torah.
entenderías que están estudiando la Torah.
Anybody want to venture a guess?
¿Quiere alguien dar un...
He's having been put to death as a criminal, but Yeshua wasn't a criminal, right?
dice aquí que fue entregado a muerte como un criminal, pero Yeshua no era un criminal.
Maritza, was Yeshua a criminal? No. But he's saying he's put to death as a criminal.
Pero él está diciendo aquí que Yeshua fue puesto a muerte como un criminal.
Okay?
She says, as criminal, not, or like a criminal, not that he was a criminal.
Right, he wasn't a criminal, but as a criminal.
Dice que fue entregado a muerte como un criminal, no que fue un criminal.
But here he's saying he's put to death as a criminal,
Pero aquí está diciendo que fue puesto a muerte como un criminal.
not like a criminal. Why do we need to understand this line?
¿Por qué necesitamos entender esta diapositiva?
Because, like I said, I'm showing you how to witness to a Christian who says we don't need the law anymore.
Que te voy a mostrar cómo testificar a un cristiano que dice que no tenemos que seguir la ley.
Because you're making it look like there, like the law is wrong.
No, you need to know something about the law.
Necesita saber algo acerca de la ley.
And the people he's writing to need to know about the law.
Y la gente con la que él está hablándoles tienen que tener algún conocimiento de la ley.
Let's read verse 1 before you say something.
Veamos el versículo 1.
All right, spit it out.
See? I gotta get it out.
All right, I'll read it and it'll come back to you. Let her mind come back. Be one with the ball. Be the ball. All right. You stupid Galatians, who put you under a spell? Before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed as having been put to death as a criminal. Why do they have to know the Torah to understand what he's saying?
Because he's the living word. Yes.
Is the word a criminal?
No, but they're making it look like
Mhm.
the living word is a criminal. They're portraying it as a criminal. So they're trying to discount it.
But how would your students understand this phrase? That they're making him look like a criminal, but he wasn't a criminal. How are they making him look like a criminal? It's a two-step process.
By hanging him on a stake.
Why would you hang somebody on a stake instead of cooking him on a grill?
See? Because you didn't want any of the grill marks.
It would rub on. One sec. One sec. It's a very interesting, because here, with this understanding, you know that he's teaching the Torah. This.
It also
Go ahead.
teaches about
Aquí con este entendimiento, si comprendemos esta oración, vamos a entender claramente que le estaba enseñando la Torah.
And he's teaching the Old Testament. He's teaching the Tanakh.
Y está enseñando el Tanaj.
One sec. It's good because this is why this is why
Por esta razón,
I wanted to say what I said in chapter 2 before we moved on.
yo quise decir lo que quería decir en el capítulo 2 antes de seguir.
Because he's very Jewish.
Porque él es muy, muy judío.
He is actually a very smart man, Rav Shaul.
Él es un hombre muy inteligente.
Okay? He knows his Old Testament well.
Él sabe él tiene conocimiento del Antiguo Testamento muy bien.
And his students, Galatia, where you can see by this sentence
Y los estudiantes de Galacia también puedes ver por medio de esta oración.
his students were taught the Old Testament.
A sus estudiantes les enseñaron el Antiguo Testamento.
Because without knowing the Old Testament, you don't, what the heck's this guy talking about?
Porque sin el Antiguo Testamento no sabes qué el hombre está hablando.
Elizabeth,
By saying that to them, well, my translation says that these people are not obeying the truth. I don't know if in your translation says that.
well, does your translation say he was put to death as a criminal?
It does say it, but before that it says that the people he's referring to, they not obeying the truth. And when you read it, I didn't hear that, so I'm not sure if it's not in your translation. Because it is in mine, but it's not.
It's not because he's reading the CJB.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a part in my translation that is not in yours.
Okay, so what would be obeying the truth then?
Obeying the Torah. He's referring to Isaiah 53 when
That's
he's telling these
step
people-
2.
Yeah, he's.
No, you got to go to step 1 first.
What do you mean step one?
I'll show you in a second.
But you know, he's referring to Isaiah 53.
That's why I said he's referring to the Tanakh. The Tanakh is the Old Testament in total. There's step 1 though. That's why, what is the word in Spanish for criminal?
Criminal.
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 You just say it a little different, like a Frenchman. Okay. Oscar?
Estoy pensando acerca de las Hazel, de la Yom Kippur, de las
The
dos.
people online, we got like 100 people watching this study. They wanted to hear the questions.
I think the first step is when in Yom Kippur, when the high priest he had the 2 goats, and one for the high priest and his family, and the other one for the people of Israel.
The Azazel.
So, el hermano Oscar está diciendo que él ve acerca de las Hazel, de las dos chivos expiatorios.
But it's not a criminal. That the Azazel is not a criminal.
Ha sido por medio de ha sido transferido los pecados de las
Hold your
personas
place
a
in
él,
Galatians.
pero no es el Azazel no es un
Turn to
criminal.
Devarim, Deuteronomy 21, verse 22.
Vámonos a Deuteronomio capítulo 21 versículo 22.
Because it's a 2-step process. Elizabeth got step 2, but you missed step 1. Deuteronomy, Devarim 21, verse 22.
Deuteronomio 21 versículo 22.
Deuteronomy, Devarim 21, verse 22.
Deuteronomio 21 versículo 22.
Everybody got it?
Amén.
If someone has committed a capital crime and is put to death, then hung on a tree. So he's a criminal.
Él es un criminal.
A capital crime, he's a criminal.
Un pecado capital es un criminal.
And Yeshua was hung on a tree.
Y Yeshua fue colgado en un madero.
So he had done nothing wrong.
Pero él no hizo nada malo.
So he's put to death as a criminal.
Él fue puesto en la cruz, fue crucificado como
But he
criminal.
was hung on the cross, which is a tree.
Pero él fue colgado en un madero que es un árbol.
Step number 1.
Paso número 1.
You have to understand he's put to death.
Tienes que entender que él fue puesto a muerte.
The criminal is put to death.
El criminal es puesto a muerte.
You have to have step number 1.
Tienes que tener el paso número 1.
Before you go to the next slide,
Antes de ir a la siguiente diapositiva.
and then
No, el siguiente paso. Y después,
turn to Isaiah 53,
vámonos a Isaías 53,
verse 4 and 5, and then we'll put the 2 puzzle pieces together.
versículo 4 y 5, y ahí vamos a conectar la pieza de rompecabezas.
I gotta make you a question, Rabbi. I'm sorry.
Okay.
You spoke about the law, like changing the criminal, but the law, because I was reading it last night, actually, like they supposed to kill that person first, or by stoning or whatever means they have to do it, and then hang that person. Is that like the
The key is that he has to be hung on a tree.
La clave es que él tiene que ser colgado en un árbol.
It says that it's non-specific on how he dies.
No es específico cómo debe morir.
Basically, it's humiliation.
Es humillación.
Okay, well, you need step 2 to understand Galatians 3 verse 1.
Ahora necesitas el paso 2 para entender Gálatas.
So now we're in Yeshayahu, Isaiah 53 verse 4 and 5.
Ahora vamos a leer Isaías 53 versículos 4 y 5.
Isaiah 53 verse 4 and 5.
Isaías 53 versículos 4 y 5.
In fact, it was our diseases he bore, our pains from which he suffered, yet we regarded him as punished, stricken, and afflicted by God. But he was wounded because of our crimes. Oh, a criminal. Crushed because of our sins. The disciplining that makes us whole fell on him, and by his stripes and our fellowship with him, we are healed. What did it say in verse number 5?
¿Qué decía en el versículo 5?
He was wounded because of our crimes.
Él fue herido por nuestras transgresiones.
That means he would be a criminal.
Por nuestros crímenes. Entonces quiere decir que él era un criminal.
But he was put to death before their eyes.
Pero él fue puesto a muerte en frente de sus ojos.
So that's why you need the Deuteronomy 21 verse 22 scripture.
Por eso necesitas la escritura de Deuteronomio 21, 22.
That's step 1.
Ese es paso 1.
Step 2, Isaiah 53 verse 4 and 5.
Y después Isaías 53, versículos 4 y 5 es el paso 2.
To understand Galatians 3 verse 1.
Para entender Gálatas 3, versículo 1.
So if you're in Galatia and you're receiving this letter,
Si estás en Galacia y recibes esta carta,
if you were not schooled in the Tanakh,
si no has sido educado o entrenado en lo que es el Tanaj,
you would have no idea what he is talking about.
no vas a tener idea de lo que él está hablando.
Is everybody warm enough in here? Because I can turn on. Is everybody? Because I see you're wearing your coats. Yeah, that's true, but I'm just. Are you warm enough? Caliente? Because we can. Because I can turn on. I'm comfortable, but I don't want you guys to be uncomfortable. I just noticed. I'm like, you're wearing your coat. Okay, no problema. All right. Sorry, I'm sorry I sidetracked. I was just noticing something. Okay, because I'm in the zone with the teaching. Okay, so is everybody seeing the two-step process?
Están viendo todos el proceso de dos pasos.
Picture yourself, you're receiving this letter.
Imagínense todos ustedes que reciben esta carta.
You're at Beth Goyim, Galatia.
Estás en Bet Goim, Galacia.
It's the 1st century.
Es del primer siglo.
And this guy's writing that Yeshua the Messiah was put to death as a criminal.
Y este hombre escribe que Yeshua el Mesías fue puesto a muerte como criminal.
You would have to understand the Torah
Vas a tener que entender la Torah,
because he took our sins upon him.
porque él tomó nuestros pecados sobre él.
He became a criminal for us, Isaiah 53 verse 5.
Él se convirtió en criminal por nosotros, Isaías 53, versículo
He was then
5.
hung on a tree, Deuteronomy 21 verse 22.
Fue colgado en un madero, Deuteronomio 21, versículo 22.
Okay, so now he's a criminal.
Ahora él es un criminal.
Now that understanding,
Ahora con ese entendimiento,
now we go back to Galatians 3:1.
regresémonos a Gálatas capítulo 3, versículo
Go
1.
back to Galatians 3 verse 1.
Vamos a Gálatas 3, versículo 1.
You stupid Galatians, who put you under a spell? Before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed as having been put to death as a criminal. So he's clearly portrayed as being put to death as a criminal.
Él está claramente señalando que fue condenado, entregado a muerte como un criminal.
So it's clear to Shaul.
Es muy claro para Shaul.
It's got to be clear to his students.
Y esto tiene que ser claro para sus estudiantes.
His students who are schooled in the Tanakh, the Old Testament.
Sus estudiantes que son educados en lo que es el Tanaj, el Antiguo Testamento.
Because as a teacher, you can't be telling, writing them a letter and they don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Porque como maestro puedes escribirles una carta y no entender qué es lo que él está hablando.
Does everybody see this part of verse 1?
Ven todos ustedes esta parte del versículo 1.
Are you seeing it, Lisbeth? Are you okay with it? You have any questions? Mother, are you okay?
It's just my translation and yours has a different. I want to know because it says that they do not obey to the truth and yours doesn't say. Which makes the verse 1 more interesting because he's saying that they not obeying to the truth.
Well, what is the truth?
The Torah is the truth.
So that adds strength to then understanding put to death as a criminal. Okay? Generally, I like the Stern's translation of this letter better.
Generalmente a mí me gusta la traducción de Stern la traducción de Stern para esto.
So let me just pull up another translation here.
Sí.
Which Spanish translation are you reading, Elizabeth? Yeah, it's not in the NASB. That the 1960? Okay, because it's not in the other translation. It's not just the CJB. Okay, so somebody added that in. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
mine-
it adds strength, but it's not there in the Greek.
In mine it says who has
Bewitched
like,
you.
Bewitched you. Yeah.
Okay, so that in the CJB and the Spanish are equal in that part.
No,
being-
this is not CJB. This is an NBLH. It's the NASB, but in Spanish. It's
Right.
the same from the same.
Right, I'm not seeing the truth in the Greek. I mean, it is interesting, but it's not there. Okay, so everybody's good with verse 1? Okay.
Estamos bien con el versículo 1.
Okay. Now let's go out to let's read Galatians chapter 3 verse 1 and 2. You okay there over there, Ravid? For what? Stupid? It's not in the NASB. It's not. So I can't tell you because it's not there.
What I understand that verse is telling the people, like, what's going on with you? Who teach you that you don't have to obey the truth? He's asking that. Right? He's questioning.
Well, yeah, he's quite because but to build the case,
Para poder poner el caso junto.
you have to understand everything that's going on in verse 1.
Tienes que entender todo lo que está pasando en el versículo.
Right. He became a capital crime, and then in the other English translations, they actually use the word crucified. So then it hung on a tree is even more important to Deuteronomy 21, verse 22.
El hecho de que dice que está colgado en un árbol es más importante para Deuteronomio 21:22.
Okay? Because then the word crucified is actually there.
Que la palabra crucificado está ahí.
So now let's go on to verse number 2. Let's read verse 1 and 2.
Vamos a leer los versículos 1 y 2.
Okay? You stupid Galatians, who put you under a spell? Before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed as having been put to death as a criminal, crucified. I want to know from you just one thing. Did you receive the Spirit by legalistic observance of Torah commands, or by trusting in what you heard and being faithful to it. This is key,
Aquí está la clave.
because this is what he's trying to get through to these people.
Porque esto es lo que él está tratando de hacer entender a esta gente.
Now, this is a very Jewish style of teaching,
Este es un estilo de enseñanza judío.
okay? So what do I mean by it's a very Jewish style of teaching?
¿Qué quiero decir cuando digo que es un estilo de enseñanza judío?
Did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law,
¿Recibiste el Espíritu por medio de guardar los mandamientos? de la ley?
or by hearing with faith?
¿O por confiar y ser obedientes a lo que oyeron?
This is what the key is to all the whole letter.
Esta es la clave para toda la carta.
Because what's transpiring is that they're going back to Talmudic traditions.
Porque lo que está saliendo de esta, o resultado de esta conversación es que están siguiendo
Traditions.
esa tradición rabínica.
Okay? So that's the key.
Esta es la clave.
Because you don't receive Yeshua by Torah.
Tú no recibes Yeshua por la Torah.
You receive Yeshua by the Spirit.
Tú recibes a Yeshua por el Espíritu.
Your eyes get open to who Messiah is.
Tus ojos son abiertos para entender quién es el Mesías.
Then you then go, oh, there he is in Torah.
Entonces ahí tú vas a entender, vas a
He's all
mirarlo
over the
en la
place.
Torah. Él está en todo lugar en la Torah.
Okay? So here he's not putting away the Torah.
Él no está poniendo la Torah a un lado,
He's saying, how did you receive it?
pero él está diciendo cómo ustedes lo recibieron.
You were lighting the Shabbat candles and you all of a sudden saw that Yeshua was the light?
Están prendiendo las velas para Shabbat y de repente dicen que what?
Yeshua was the light?
Yeshua es la luz.
Okay? So how does one understand who Messiah is? That's what he's asking.
Can you repeat that again?
He says, how does one understand who Messiah is?
Él está preguntando cómo uno entiende quién es el Mesías.
The prophecies, the 400 prophecies beforehand.
Las 400 profecías.
But first you got to be searching for the Messiah.
Pero primero tienes que estar en búsqueda del Mesías.
You know, you don't say all of a sudden, you know, you're reading Isaiah 53 and you're like, huh.
Tú estás leyendo Isaías 53 y estás sorprendido, fascinado.
Oh. And how did you receive that revelation?
¿Cómo recibiste esa revelación?
The scales fall from your eyes.
Las escalas o escamas bajaron, escamas cayeron de tus ojos.
So this is look at verse 2 again.
Veamos el versículo 2.
I want to know from you just one thing, you stupid Galatians. Did you receive the Spirit by legalistic observance of Torah commands or by trusting in what you heard and being faithful to it? Okay, so he's doing the two-hand theory.
Entonces él está diciendo la teoría de las dos manos.
On one hand, did you receive the Spirit
En una mano recibiste, por un lado tú recibiste el Espíritu
by being Talmudic
por ser talmúdico
or by trusting in what you heard about the Messiah?
o por confiar en lo que escuchaste del Mesías.
Okay, so he's doing the two hands.
Él está haciendo las dos manos o la teoría de las dos manos.
This is a very,
Dos lados, de los dos lados, de los dos puestos, de los dos
this is
formas.
we got it?
De las dos manos, formas, pues, de los,
On one hand and on the other hand. To
de
say
los dos
that,
lugares. De un lugar, por el un lado, recibiste la Torah, por el otro lado la fe.
do you want a spanking or do you want or do you want a smack?
Por un lado quieres una cachetada o por otro lado un golpe.
Didn't your parents ever say that to you?
¿Sí? Teoría de las manos.
Do you want a
Yeah.
spanking or do you want a smack?
¿Quieres una cachetada o quieres un golpe?
Okay, so they give you the two-hand
Una
theory.
galleta. Una galleta.
Do you want the chancleta or do you want a spanking?
Yeah, very
You
much,
want the
yeah.
chancleta or the cookie,
chancleta has to
Jesus?
be there.
Okay? All right? So now let's read verse 2 again.
Ahora leamos el versículo 2 otra vez.
I want to know from you just one thing. Did you receive the Spirit by legalistic observance of the Torah commands, or by trusting in what you heard and being faithful to it? What does it mean to receive the Spirit?
¿Qué significa recibir el Espíritu?
What does that mean?
¿Qué significa eso?
Because I see a lot of Spanish churches who recibe.
Porque hay muchas iglesias que dicen
Here's a warrant for your arrest. Recibe.
aquí hay una
¿Dónde? ¿Qué? Okay. Okay. So what does it, on the one hand, receive the Spirit, what does that mean?
por un lado dice recibieron el Espíritu o el Ruach.
Because
That's when your scales fall off your eyes, like when, Paul fell off the, when Yeshua blinded him and said, why are you, oh, what was it that he said? Why are you?
where's the microphone?
Pursuing me? No.
What is it?
¿Por qué me persigues?
Yeah.
Pursuing me?
Why are you?
Or
pursuing
chasing me?
Persecuting.
Persecuting.
And then the scales fall off his eyes. I think that's when you receive the Spirit. When you're actually able to see who Yeshua actually is. Because this is the reason why my pastors could never, ever answer my questions. And they were telling me I was driving them crazy. And I'm
Well,
like,
you
I'm
do.
driving you crazy.
You do.
Well, I drive you crazy. That's a hobby.
That's
But
your staple.
I think that's the reason why, I think that's how, I mean, I remember one day I literally just sat and I was like, and that's when I finally told my pastor I'm leaving. And I waited till they went on vacation to leave because they were constantly like, no, you can't leave, you can't leave. I was like, while they're on vacation, I'm like, hey, pastors, how you doing? How's the ride going? Yeah? All right, goodbye. Yeah, I waited till they were gone.
Okay.
You know, but I think that's what it means to receive the Spirit, is like when the scales fall off your eyes and you're actually able to see who Yeshua actually is. And now you're just seeking answers. Now you're actually seeking the truth. I think that's what receiving the Spirit.
I say some of that in Spanish, not the whole thing.
Yo creo que
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
entendimiento en el recibir el Espíritu es cuando a uno se le caen las escamas de los ojos y puede ver quién Yeshua es en verdad. Para mí eso quiere decir recibir el Espíritu.
Okay. Elizabeth, Joseph. Okay. Elizabeth. No, Lisbeth. Go ahead. Skateboarder.
I believe that receiving the Spirit is when like you have eyes to see and when you have ears to hear and you're like trusting and faithful of the word rather than like throwing it away or just like not wanting it at all.
Okay. Say that in Spanish. Burritos, tacos, chimichangas.
Yo creo que el recibir el Espíritu significa cuando tú tienes ojos para ver y oídos para oír. What else did you say?
And like having trust and faithfulness of the word.
O en tener confianza y fe de la palabra.
Okay. Joseph?
My way of seeing this is that, receiving the Spirit, you must have believed in Yeshua. Because you might have read the Word, but we were Christians for many years. We read the Word. We read the Word in our ways, and you read the word but you still did not receive the spirit because it was not true. Could not understand what the word was telling you. By the moment that you get to receive Yeshua, and I connected to what she said, is then you will be more available, more open to listen, to understand, and then I will say you will receive the Spirit, and it's gonna open your eyes to see the words of God in a totally different way.
Espanol. Condensed version.
Okay.
Grande burrito.
You're running to the Taco Bell to the border today, Robert. There's gonna be a wall there.
It's a national emergency.
La forma de que yo veo esto es que para recibir el Espíritu tú tienes que creer en Yeshua. Podemos leer la palabra muchas veces y no creer en Yeshua. Y como cristianos muchas veces leímos la palabra, pero no estuvimos 100% convencidos de lo que estábamos leyendo porque no entendíamos. Mas al conocer a Yeshua, recibimos el Espíritu y esto nos permitió ver la palabra del Padre, de Jehová, a Yeshua, entonces de una u otra manera, verlo con ojos y tener oídos más aceptables y buscar entender su palabra de una mejor manera.
You had a? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, me?
I agree with Joseph that in order for you to have the Ruach, because when Yeshua left, he said he will leave to the Father, but he will leave you the counselor, the one that is going to teach you. So if you don't have Yeshua, how are you going to have the Ruach? Like, it's impossible. Like, how? Without Yeshua? If we see in the book of Acts, like when people received the Lord as their Savior, the Ruach came, like, to them. And they received the free gift of the Ruach after they received Yeshua. So they come together.
Okay, go ahead.
And with that said, that's why once you receive the Spirit, make sure you don't do nothing against it because it's gonna be bad. Because you already have received it.
In Acts 5, they received the Spirit,
En Hechos 5 recibieron el Espíritu
and then they lied,
y mintieron
and they died.
y murieron.
Okay?
Rabbi, could it be like the understanding of the word and of the truth? Because before you accept Yeshua, before you get to know the truth of obedience of the Sabbath, for example, to me. Every word that I read in the Bible back then, I wouldn't understand it. But once we started investigating about Shabbat, once we started like sort of keeping Shabbat the way that we knew, it was like there was some new reality that opened to us, so we could understand the truth of Yeshua, what the Torah was. And I remember this clearly because it was amazing. After that, I asked a question to my pastor about the part where in Genesis it speaks about the prophecy that the serpent will bite his the woman's
Put enmity between your
Yeah.
seed and his seed.
So, and the seed and the man, and I asked him, and I told him, is this prophesying about the Messiah? And he looked at me puzzled, and I don't think he had an idea about that, but he told me yes, but I could see that he didn't know. And I didn't understand it before. But once, it's like when Yeshua says, when he's asked why you teach them in parables, and he tells, because if I don't tell them in parables, they will understand and they will repent, and I have to forgive them. But it was because people will get to understand that he's a Mashiach, not because they want to obey, not because they have it in their heart, but it's because some other reasons. So he wanted the heart. he wanted obedience for in the desire to learn, the desire to know the truth and for us to ask. And then he would uncover that, the understanding of the truth. I don't know if I'm making myself understood. I just went around like Lev.
You're hanging out with Lev, aren't you?
Well,
No.
well. Do we think Moshe had the Spirit?
¿Creen que Moisés tuvo el Espíritu?
When did he receive it?
¿Cuándo él lo recibió?
When you saw the burning bush and he followed up, you obeyed. When you obeyed the Torah. No, we can't obey the Torah.
When did Moshe receive it, Lisbeth?
For some reason, I'm thinking that it's like the moment God told him, like that, this is holiness, like where you're stepping on, so you have to move your feet, because like he was willing in that moment, like he knew that was God, so he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this, I'm gonna do everything he says, like, so that moment that he was just willing just to hear God out, that, I think that's the moment when he was receiving.
When he saw the flames.
Cuando vio las llamas.
I'm going to go see what this bush is burning.
Voy a ver qué es este arbusto que se está quemando.
So it's when you receive the knowledge of Jehovah.
Es cuando recibes el conocimiento de Jehová.
That's what the receiving the Spirit, not blah 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 blah.
No eso de las
Okay. Welcome to Beth Goyim.
I just wanted to add that Yeshua is the knowledge of the prophet. So basically, when you receive him, he's the knowledge himself.
Well,
According to Proverbs, he is. Proverbs 8. He's the knowledge of the Lord.
he's wisdom.
His wisdom is,
And there's a study on the website.
I saw it.
Okay. The Proverbs 8 study. Was Yeshua created. So he's wisdom.
Él es la sabiduría.
But the knowledge of the Lord is more the obedience of his commandments, following his word.
Pero el conocimiento de la palabra es el seguimiento de la Torah.
Going on to the next slide.
Vamos a la siguiente diapositiva.
Let's see what he's talking about in the Spirit here.
Veamos de qué habla en el Espíritu.
Everybody learning something here today?
¿Están aprendiendo algo aquí?
We've taken an hour and a half and we've gone to 2 verses.
Not even
Verse 2. I want to know from you just one thing. Did you receive the Spirit by legalistic observance of Torah commands, or by trusting in what you've heard and being faithful to it? Okay? Verse number 2, the word Spirit is used.
En el verso número 2, la palabra espíritu se utiliza.
It is G4151.
Es la palabra G4151.
It is the Greek word pneuma.
Esa palabra griega pneuma.
Okay. The third person of the triune God, the Holy Spirit.
La tercera persona de la triunidad, el Espíritu de Dios, el Espíritu de Dios.
Okay, it's not Trinity, but we're just going to use that word. Okay, it's the
Triunidad.
triune nature of God.
La triunidad.
Well, people online freak out because they have limited knowledge base.
La Trinidad.
You're being Catholic. No. It's trying hard to translate people. Listen to the English, okay? You know, I get these weird emails. It's one thing that's good to grow, but 2 when you got to answer a whole bunch of emails. Okay? The Ruach HaKodesh is co-eternal.
El Ruach HaKodesh es coeterno.
Okay, number 2,
Número
for
2.
spirit, sometimes referred to in a way which emphasizes his personality and character.
Hay veces, which one you say?
Number 2,
right?
dos.
A veces referido a una manera en que se enfatiza su personalidad Y carácter, el espíritu de la verdad.
The spirit of truth.
El espíritu de la verdad.
Number 3, the rational spirit.
Número 3, el espíritu racional.
The power by which a human feels, thinks, and decide. Your nefesh.
El poder por el cual el humano siente, el ser humano siente, piensa y decide.
Okay? So this is what he's talking about.
Eso es lo que él está hablando.
When you receive the Spirit, it's the way you feel, you think, you decide.
Cuando recibes el espíritu es cuando tú sientes, piensas y decides.
On truth.
En la verdad.
And what is truth?
¿Y qué es verdad?
The 613 laws of God. That is truth.
Las 613 leyes.
Let's
de
go on
Dios.
to the next slide.
Vamos a la siguiente diapositiva.
Now here is a key word.
Aquí está la palabra clave.
Because throughout the chapter,
Porque por medio del capítulo,
he's going to use the word faithful.
él va a utilizar la palabra fiel.
If a husband is not faithful to his wife, what happens to their marriage?
Si un esposo no es fiel a su esposa, ¿qué pasa con su matrimonio?
Okay? They're going to get divorced.
Se van a divorciar.
Okay? So are you being faithful to God?
¿Eres tú fiel a Dios?
So let's read verse 2 again.
Vamos a leer versículo 2 otra vez.
I want to know from you just this one thing. Did you receive the Spirit by legalistic observance of the Torah commands or by trusting in what you heard and being faithful to it? So here we need to trust
Aquí tenemos que confiar
and be faithful to what you've heard.
y ser fieles a lo que escuchamos.
Okay, did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law
¿Recibieron el Espíritu por el guardar los mandamientos de la ley?
or
de la
by
Torah?
hearing about Yeshua the Messiah?
¿O por escuchar acerca del Mesías? Yeshua?
Okay, this is the whole understanding of the letter.
Esto es el entendimiento de la carta.
That once you know about Messiah,
Una vez que tú conoces acerca del Mesías,
you are going to want to do what Messiah did if you're supposed to be a Christian, Christ-like.
tú vas a querer hacer lo que el Mesías hizo si eres un cristiano o uno como Cristo,
But
como
if you-
Yeshua.
If you're a pagan,
Pero si eres un pagano,
you have to receive Yeshua as Messiah first.
tú vas a tener que recibir a Yeshua, el Mesías, primero.
Okay? So if you want to get into heaven, you need to receive Messiah first.
Si quieres si quieres llegar al cielo, tienes que aceptar o recibir a Yeshua primero.
But then you have to be faithful to him.
Pero después de eso tú debes ser
So
fiel a él.
Let's take a look at the word faithfulness or faith.
Veamos a la palabra fidelidad o fe.
It is G4102.
Esa palabra G4102,
It is the word in Greek pistis.
esa palabra griega pistis.
It is the definition is conviction of the truth of anything.
La definición es la convicción de la verdad de cualquier cosa.
Belief,
de alguna cosa.
belief, the convictions or belief respecting man's relationship to God and divine things.
Creencia, la convicción o creencia en respeto a la relación del hombre con Dios y las cosas divinas.
What are divine things?
¿Qué son las cosas divinas?
What are we being faithful to?
¿A qué es que somos nosotros fieles?
Is Sunday a divine day of the Sabbath?
¿Es el domingo un día algo divino? Ok.
Is
Sí.
Sunday a divine day of this ordained Sabbath?
¿Es el domingo un día divino o un día señalado o ordenado?
That is not a divine voice.
Esa no es una.
That is demonic. He's not even in the same key as the guy playing the piano.
It's karaoke night.
And he's singing about love. Maybe it sounded better when he was in the shower.
That's all really old what he's singing.
Huh?
It's really old what he's singing there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The Catholic Church.
That's a Catholic.
It's a
hymn,
Catholic
yeah.
charismatic song. Not everything. Yeah.
Okay. So let's get back to something and learning how to be faithful to it. Okay. So the beginning, we need this understanding of the word faithful.
Necesitamos este entendimiento de la palabra fiel.
Can't you give us our own building?
Shut the radio. Sorry, Robert.
All right.
Let's talk about faithfulness.
Let's talk about faith now. We'll try to put the Momo out of our minds here.
We're going down memory here.
I knew I should have turned the speakers on in the other room. So these froofies. See, if you other Jews could not even tolerate this. Yeah, he's like not.
Probably must be a grandpa.
Where's Simon? Where's Chuck Barris? Let's gong him. You're gonged. You're gonged. Somebody get the hook. Get rid of this guy. Thank you. Thank you. Don't call us. We'll call you. Don't let the cars hit you as you leave the building.
What was that thing that used to come out?
The hook.
No, the thing with the bag on his head.
Oh.
The bag of shame.
The bag of shame. Please stop singing. You're killing pigeons. All right, back to our study. This is why we get no respect. All right. Verse 2.
Versículo 2.
And it was going so educational. I want to know from you just this one thing. Why did you let that man sing? Diablo! Did you receive the Spirit by illegal observance of Torah commands, or by trusting that you... What did you do with the money? And what you heard and being faithful to it. Okay? So once again, let's try to bring it back here. What is the word faithfulness?
¿Qué es la palabra fidelidad?
Man's relationship to God and divine things.
La relación del hombre con Dios y la divinidad o cosas divinas.
Okay? Now, if you know this word pistis,
Si sabes esta palabra pistis,
you can then hopefully open the eyes of some Gentiles who are Galatians followers.
entonces podrías abrir los ojos de algunos gentiles o de estos seguidores de Gálatas.
Okay? Because you have to have a relationship to God in divine things.
Porque tienes que tener una relación con Dios y las cosas divinas.
How am I going to know what is divine and what is not?
¿Cómo voy a saber yo qué es divino o qué es divinidad y qué no es?
That's why you need to know the Torah.
Por esta razón necesitas saber la Torah.
Once you understand this, then the rest of the letter then becomes easier.
Una vez que entiendes esta parte, entonces el resto de la carta es mucho más fácil.
Let's go to the next slide.
Siguiente diapositiva.
Verse number 3.
Versículo 3.
Got to find their frequency and switch it. Let's read verse 1, 2, and 3.
Leamos los versículos 1, 2 y 3.
You stupid Galatians! Who put you under a spell? Well, before your very eyes, Yeshua the Messiah was clearly portrayed and having been put to death as a criminal. Well, I want to know from you. Well, just this one thing. Well, did you receive the Spirit by legalistic observance of Torah command? Well, or by trusting in what you heard and being faithful to it? Well, are you that stupid? Having begun with the Spirit's power, do you think you can reach your goal under your own power? Okay? So now, the second verse, he's calling them stupid again.
En el tercer verso les está llamando estúpidos otra vez.
Okay? Now, Why is he calling them stupid again?
¿Por qué les llama estúpidos otra vez?
Because they're going away from what they were taught.
Porque se están alejando de lo que se les enseñó al principio.
Okay? They began by the Spirit and knowing the truth.
Comenzó con el espíritu y conocer la verdad.
And who is the truth? Yeshua is the truth.
¿Y quién es la verdad? Yeshua es la verdad.
And Yeshua said in Matthew 5, verse 18, what?
Y Yeshua dijo en Mateo 5:18 ¿qué?
Not one jot or tittle will be lost from the truth.
Ni una jota ni una tilde sería perdido de la ley.
They're now trying to reach the goal without Yeshua.
Ahora están tratando de alcanzar la meta sin Yeshua.
This is why verse 3 is important.
Por esta razón es que el versículo 3 es importante.
Are you that stupid? Haven't begun with the Spirit's power? Do you think you can reach the goal under your own power? You need Yeshua.
Necesitas a Yeshua.
So what is transpiring is they're forgetting Yeshua.
Lo que se está entendiendo aquí es que ellos se están olvidando de Yeshua.
Not that Rav Shaul knows too much about Yeshua,
No que Rab Shaul conoce demasiado o suficiente
but
de Yeshua.
without Yeshua, you're not getting into heaven.
Pero sin Yeshua tú no vas a poder entrar al cielo.
Because what did Yeshua say?
Porque ¿qué es lo que dijo Yeshua?
Nobody gets to the Father except through me.
Nadie llega al Padre excepto por medio de mí.
So what they're trying to do is do things Talmudically, not Torah.
Lo que están tratando de hacer es cosas talmúdicas, no lo que está en la Torah.
And that's why I started with what we were having a discussion about.
Y por eso es que comenzamos con lo que Elizabeth estábamos discutiendo.
Okay? Because what other teachers will say, well, you don't do your Amidah prayers.
Porque a otros maestros te van a decir que necesitas hacer tus oraciones de amidad.
You don't do the Ve'ahavta
Oh,
the
no.
way I do it.
O no recitas el Behapta de la manera que lo hago.
You don't sing the Shema the way we do it.
No cantas el Shema de la manera que lo hacemos.
You don't sing the Aaronic benediction the way the rabbis do it.
No cantas la bendición arónica de la manera que los rabinos lo hacen.
You know, people hear me do the Aaronic benediction. They're like, where did you get that?
La gente me escucha cuando recito la bendición arónica y la gente me pregunta, ¿de dónde sacaste
Well, I
eso?
took what our cantor did and changed it a little bit.
De acuerdo a cómo el cantor lo hacía, pero lo cambié un poco.
Is there a song that you can give me the notes and the sheet music for?
¿Hay una canción o donde yo pueda encontrar las notas musicales?
Okay. So here, you need to understand Galatians 2, verse 6,
Aquí necesitas entender Gálatas 2, versículo 6,
to understand Galatians 3, verse 3.
para entender Gálatas capítulo 3,
You got to
versículo 3.
understand where he's coming from.
Tú tienes que entender de dónde él está, qué es lo que él está hablando.
But now he's calling them stupid in verse 3 again.
Ahora les está llamando estúpidos en el versículo 3 otra vez,
But what he's showing them,
pero lo que les está mostrando,
look at verse 3 again.
veamos al versículo 3 otra vez.
Are you that stupid, having begun with the Spirit's power, do you think you can reach the goal under your own power? So somebody's trying to take Yeshua out of them.
Entonces aquí vemos que alguien está tratando de sacar a Yeshua fuera de lo que ellos.
And this is
Great.
why 5 or 6 weeks ago when we started this study,
Entonces, por esta razón es que 5 o 6 semanas atrás cuando comenzamos el estudio,
we started with Galatians chapter 6.
comenzamos con Gálatas capítulo 6.
Because it's all talking, they're got the other idiots now too. That's why you're feeling the floor shake.
They got the one here and the one here.
Because it's a club downstairs. It is not a church. You're going to find the police here one day. They're running an underage club. Because we see the garbage and it's all alcohol. Yes. Yeah, you're going to have a problem down there.
That was last week.
Okay, let's back to this. No Lashon Hara too much.
Too much.
Well, the garbage tells a story. When you see a whole case of Heineken and other poor beers at a church function, that's wrong. No, there's Colt 45.
I was gonna say, where going?
And, anyway. Miller. No. No, Beck's would be way too, that would be European.
Latinos don't drink back. by
No.
means.
Okay, back to the spirit here.
Yes.
Okay, so verse 3 is very important. Let's come back to this study.
Versículo 3 es muy importante.
Because it's actually good that we're sidetracking a little bit, because this is what happened to them.
Esto es bueno el desviarnos un poco.
We're going down a bunny trail,
Porque así es lo que les pasó a ellos.
okay? With cheese doodles and things that'll be all over your fingers. Okay, verse 3. Versículo 3.
Versículo
Are you that stupid, having begun with the Spirit's power? Do you think you can reach the goal under your own power? So something, who's ever trying to teach them,
Quien quiera que les está tratando de enseñar.
by verse 3, you understand that they're trying to rid them of Messiah.
Cualquiera que les está enseñando, tú estás observando o comprendiendo que este individuo estaba tratando de deshacerse del Mesías. De Yeshua.
Once you understand this,
Una vez que entiendes esto,
you can understand the rest of the letter is not about getting rid of the law.
el resto del capítulo no tiene nada que ver con el hecho de que quiera deshacerse de la ley.
It is about getting them back to who is the law, and that is Yeshua.
Es acerca de hacer que regresen a lo que es la ley, que es el Mesías.
Okay, because they're trying to reach the goal under their own poor understanding.
Porque están tratando de alcanzar esta meta por medio de este pobre entendimiento.
Like if you meet a Jew,
Como por ejemplo, si te
this
encuentras
is
con
very good
judíos.
for you. How do you get to heaven?
¿Cómo es que tú llegas al cielo?
Since there's no temple
Como no hay templo
and we need blood for the Yom Kippur offering,
y necesitamos sangre una ofrenda de sangre para la ofrenda de Yom Kippur.
for the last 2,000 years, how did Jews who don't believe in Messiah get to heaven?
Por los últimos 2000 años, ¿cómo es que los judíos que no creen en el Mesías llegan al cielo?
And they'll say, well, we do enough good works.
Y dirán, hacemos muchas buenas obras.
That's on your own power.
Eso es en tu propio poder.
This is what Shaul is teaching them.
Esto es lo que Shaul les está enseñando.
You need the offering.
Necesitas la ofrenda.
That's why Yeshua became the Azazel, the offering for sin.
Por eso es que Yeshua se hizo la hacer la ofrenda del pecado.
That's why he starts off with verse 1, put to death as a criminal.
Por eso es que comienza con el versículo 1 de puesto a muerte como un criminal.
And then once you understand Deuteronomy 22 verse 21,
Y una vez que entiendas Deuteronomio 21 versículo 22,
Isaiah 53,
Isaías 53,
you understand put to death as a criminal.
tú entenderás lo que es puesto a muerte como un criminal.
Now you understand you can't reach the goal under your own power.
Ahora entiendes que no puedes alcanzar tu meta bajo tu propio poder.
This is why you have to read his letter slow.
Por esto es que tienes que leer esta carta lentamente.
Because this is why Kepha also says his letters are confusing.
Por esto es que Kefa dice que las cartas de él son confusas.
Okay? Because if you don't know this information,
Porque si no conoces esta información,
you will then say, well, we're not under the condemnation of the law.
entonces vas a decir, no estamos bajo la condenación de la ley.
Let's go on the next slide.
Vamos a la siguiente diapositiva.
We're going to start section number 3.
Comenzaremos con la sección número 3.
But do we have any questions on WebEx license? Do you like having the slides in front of you?
Preguntas en Webex.
Okay, any questions on WebEx? Go ahead.
Yes, having the slides up there is very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. It's going to go right to your thighs. Okay? Marty, are you okay? Did you get home from work early enough?
Yeah, Rabbi.
You're still working, Rabbi.
Oh,
Martin's voice changed.
I'm
You're
going
gonna
to
get
get,
out at 11.
he's got to pay the mortgage. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start section number 3.
Comenzamos la sección número 3.
Any other questions in here? We'll go for another 10 more minutes. We'll stop at 9:30. Any questions in here?
Preguntas aquí.
Sección 2, capítulo 4 al 7. That's Galatians 3, verse 4, verse 4 through 7. Have you suffered so much for nothing? If that's the way you think, your suffering certainly will have been for nothing. What about God, who supplies you with the Spirit and works miracles among you? Does he do it because of your legalistic observance of the Torah commands, or because you trust in what you heard and are faithful to it? It was the same with Abraham. He trusted God and was faithful to him, and that was credited to his account as righteousness. Be assured that it is those who live by trusting and being faithful who are really children of Abraham. Okay? Now, verse 4.
Versículo 4.
We have suffering. Why?
Hemos sufrido ¿por qué?
Why are they suffering?
¿Por qué están sufriendo?
Elizabeth?
The first thing that happens when you come to Yeshua and the knowledge of the truth, you get persecuted. Even by your own family, they be the one, the first one.
Tell me about it. Okay, so here imagine being in the first century
Imagínate estar viviendo en el primer siglo
and you're the first ones to follow Yeshua.
y son los primeros que están siguiendo a Yeshua.
Okay, so read verse 4 again.
Leamos el versículo 4 otra
Have you
vez.
suffered so much for nothing? Is that the way you think? Your suffering certainly would have been for nothing. Okay, so now he's going back to understanding who Yeshua is.
Ahora va de vuelta al entendimiento de quién es Yeshua.
Okay, now let's go to verse number 5.
Vamos al versículo 5.
What about God, who supplies you with the Spirit and works miracles among you? Does he do it because you're legal observant to our commands, because you trust in what you heard and are faithful to it? Okay, now the word God in verse 3,
La palabra Dios en el versículo 3
is that the Father or Son?
es el Padre o el Hijo.
It's the Father.
Es el Padre.
So now he's talking about the Father,
Ahora está hablando del Padre.
because Yeshua said, the Father will send the Spirit in my name.
Porque Yeshua dijo, el Padre enviará el Espíritu en mi nombre.
Yeshua did not send the Spirit.
Yeshua no envió el Espíritu.
So now you understand that you got to be faithful to the Father.
Ahora entiendes que tienes que ser fiel al Padre.
Now, how is one faithful to the Father?
¿Cómo es que uno es fiel al Padre?
You got to follow his commands, like the Sabbath.
Tienes que seguir sus mandamientos como el observar el Shabbat.
Okay? He provides you with the Spirit and works miracles among you. That is John 14, verse 26.
Ese es Juan 14, versículo 26.
Okay? Now, verse 5 again.
Versículo 5.
Let's go on to the next slide. Next slide.
Siguiente diapositiva.
What about Jehovah, who supplies you with the Spirit and works miracles among you? Does he do it because of your legalistic observance of Torah commands, or because you trust what you heard and are faithful to it? Okay, does he do it because your legal observance of Torah commands? Okay, that's where most Christians stop reading.
Aquí es donde la mayoría de los cristianos dejan de leer.
Okay, they always stop there. When I talk to these people, they stop there.
Siempre se detienen en esta parte cuando hablo con alguien.
Okay, they don't go to the next half of the sentence.
No siguen leyendo el resto de la oración.
So let's read the rest of the sentence. Let's read verse 5 again.
Leamos el versículo 5 otra vez.
What about Jehovah, who supplies you with the Spirit and works miracles among you? Does he do it because of your legalistic observance of Torah commands, or because you trust in what you've heard and are faithful to it? Okay, what have they heard?
¿Qué es lo que han escuchado?
This is why knowing verse number 1
Por eso es que el conocer o el entender el versículo 1
is very important,
es muy importante.
because by knowing that Yeshua was crucified,
Porque al conocer o al entender que Yeshua fue crucificado,
and the reason he was
y la
crucified,
razón que fue crucificado,
okay, then you understand verse number 5.
entonces tú entenderás el versículo 5.
Because you understand Deuteronomy 22 verse 29, 22, 21.
Entonces, si entiendes el
21,
Deuteronomio
22.
21 a 22.
21, 22, I inverted it.
21, versículo 22.
You understand Isaiah 53.
Entiendes Isaías 53.
You understand what they're hearing now,
Entiendes lo que están escuchando ahora.
and that they have to be trusting that that was the truth,
Tienen que estar confiando que esa es la verdad.
that you have to be
Que
circumcised
tienes que ser circuncidado
to eat Passover.
para comer de la Pascua.
And what else did they hear about Messiah?
¿Y qué más escucharon del Mesías?
Messiah said, "Do this in memory of me."
El Mesías dijo, haz esto en memoria mía.
What did he mean, and where was he sitting when he said that?
¿Qué significaba esto y dónde estaba sentado cuando hablaba de eso?
He was at a Passover, a Pesach meal.
Estaba en una comida, un banquete de Pesach.
So now we have to follow the Pesach.
Ahora tenemos que observar el Pesach.
So we know by verse number 1 that Shaul is teaching the Torah.
Ahora vemos por medio del versículo 1 que Rav Shaul está enseñando la Torah.
We know by verse number 1 he's also teaching the Old Testament, the Tanakh.
Vemos también que le está enseñando el Tanakh o el Antiguo Testamento por medio del versículo 1.
But most people stop. We don't have to see. We don't. Look at verse number 5 again.
Vamos al versículo 5 otra vez.
What about Jehovah, who supplies with the Spirit and works miracles among you? Does he do it because of your legalistic observing the Torah commands? Stop there. Okay? So he's saying, does he do it because you're being Torah observant?
Dice aquí que Jehová lo hace porque están siguiendo lo que dice la ley.
Or you're being faithful to the commands?
O está siendo fiel al mandamiento.
There's a thing about doing the Torah and living the Torah.
Hay una cosa de hacer lo que dice la Torah y vivir la Torah.
Remember the last week's Shabbat lesson.
Recuerda la lección de Shabbat.
Okay? God hears your thoughts.
Dios escucha tus pensamientos.
Okay? The child who is obedient will be blessed,
El hijo que es obediente será bendecido.
but the child who's obedient and does it because he wants to will be more blessed.
Pero el niño que es obediente y lo hace porque desea será mucho más bendecido.
So this is what Shaul is saying. Are you faithful?
Esto es lo que Rav Shaul está hablando cuando dice si eres fiel.
Okay? Let me go to one more slide.
Una vez.
Okay, go to one more slide.
Vamos a una diapositiva más.
Okay, verse 5 again, and then we'll stop after this.
Versículo 5 otra vez y aquí nos detendremos.
What about Jehovah, who supplies you with the Spirit and works miracles among you? Does he do it because of your legalistic observing the Torah commands, or because you trust in what you've heard and are faithful to it? Okay? Very important. Once again, we see the word faithful.
Una vez más vemos aquí la palabra fe o fiel.
It is once again G4102.
Una vez más es la palabra G4102.
It is the Greek word pistis,
Es la palabra pistis
and it means man's relationship to God and divine things.
y es la relación del hombre con Dios y con las cosas divinas.
So here he's saying, are you faithful to divine things?
Aquí dice, ¿eres tú fiel con las cosas que son divinas?
What is divine things?
¿Qué son cosas divinas?
Keeping the Sabbath holy.
El guardar el Shabbat como santo.
keeping kosher,
el observar kosher,
circumcising your children on the eighth, the boys on the 8th day,
circuncidar a tus hijos varones en el octavo día,
having a bar mitzvah.
tener una bar mitzvah.
No,
No,
we don't see that in Torah.
eso no tenemos en la Torah, no hay en la Torah.
Lighting the Shabbat candles.
Encender las velas de Shabbat,
I don't see that in Torah either.
tampoco veo en la Torah.
Okay? So here, what is he talking about?
¿Qué es lo que él está hablando aquí?
What you've heard and are faithful to it.
Lo que has escuchado y eres fiel a esto.
All right, we're going to stop on slide 112.
Nos
Any
vamos
questions?
a detener en la diapositiva 112.
Okay?
¿Preguntas?
Any questions on WebEx Land? You good, Mr. Yehoshua? Okay. Martin's not home. Okay. Marty, better listen to this study tomorrow morning. Got his voice down. Any questions in here?
¿Preguntas aquí?
Everybody learned something?
Amén. ¿Han aprendido?
Maritza, you learned something? And Paulo is here. Paulo is here. Un pequeño? Okay. All right. Let's pray to close this study. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings today. Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to share. Thank you for only having that man sing one song. May you give him a voice next time he sings to sing on key. And thank you for teaching us more about your servant Shaul. In your name, Yeshua. Amen. Shalom.
Shalom. This is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman. I would personally like to thank you for tuning in to the Remnant's Call each and every week. You can listen to the full message on our website, bethgoyim.org. If you have drawn closer to the King of Kings, learned more about him today, we are blessed. If you are blessed by these messages, please consider a donation to our ministry. You can go to our website, bethgoyim.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org, and click on the donate button. You do not have to have a PayPal account to donate. All you need is a debit card. Once again, thank you very much for listening to The Remnant's Call.
If you have not taken your first steps to be born again, just ask God's help. Remember, it's His loving grace that has come to find you. No one is worthy or able to reach God, but God can reach us, and He's reaching out to you now. Just open your heart and let Him in. His arms are open, and the blessing of salvation and eternal life are waiting for you. Don't let it wait any longer.
Ya Adonai, panavoleka, vikuneka, Yisa Adonai, panavoleka, vayasem lecha, shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord lift His face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious unto you and give you His shalom.
Shalom. My name is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman, and I invite you to come to visit our congregation. If you are in the tri-state area, come out and visit with us on Shabbat. We are a congregation of Jews and Gentiles, living as one in the Messiah Yeshua. Bgmc is a place of true worship. The focus never wanders from the Hebraic roots of our faith. Beth Goyim is rooted in the Word of God from Bereshit through to the book of Revelation. Messiah's strong words against man-made tradition are carefully recorded in Matthew 7. That is the reason we only follow the straight-up instructions found in Scripture, truly the way, the truth, and the life. If you're looking for a deeper walk with Adonai, come out for our Tuesday evening Bible study called Messianic Torah Time. Come, spend the day with us on any Shabbat. We start at 11 a.m. with the sound of the ancient Hebrew shofar. Next, we offer our King praise and worship in English, Hebrew, and Spanish. After worship, we review the headlines in the previous week's news from around the globe, especially news from the Holy Land, Israel. We don't just list the news headlines as current events, but we comb through the scriptures, searching for clues to understand what they mean and then to help pinpoint prophetically our current position on Adonai's clock. After digesting all that modern information, we leave the world behind as we journey with our Adonai deep into his eternal word, not with just 1 or 2 scriptures, but usually 7 or more scriptures. The spiritual nourishment and the richness of his kingdom become accessible to the ones who share this special time and seek them out. The day does not end there. Because Shabbat is so special to him, there is always so much more that our King desires to share. So instead of separating and leaving, we stay together as a family for potluck lunch and an afternoon study of our King's Word. We close the Shabbat together with the reading of the new week's parashah. That's the Torah portion. Even after those blessings, many of us just can't get enough. So the members bring prepared homemade foods to share while we all enjoy an uplifting movie together. If all that information is not quite enough, you can check out our website where you will find over 200 video teachings and biblical holy day studies. Under Messianic Torah Time, the Hebrew Roots button, you'll discover free studies on many, many different topics, including PowerPoint slide presentations. If Beth Goyim sounds like a place you'd love to visit, but you live outside the tri-state area, there is still a way to connect with us. We stream live on the internet on Tuesday, Thursday, and Shabbat. The website is www.bethgoyim.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org. Our phone number is 973-338-7800 or 978-2-YESHUA. That's 978, the number 2, Yeshua. Shalom.